left brain and right brain thinking, and the Aeons. When looking into how brains work, we have all heard about the left brain being responsible for logical and linear thinking, whereas the right brain is responsible for the creative, artistic, and empathetic thinking. Whereas this is true, there is a bit of each in the other side too. But what is most interesting is how most people look to gods for how things are in the world. But when they do the great work, they realize that we are the gods and goddesses. Let me explain. In the first Aeon, we had matriarchy. This is the mother part of the trinity. This was the time when right brain thought ruled through society, meaning people were generally more creative, artistic, and empathetic, because generally females are more in tune with their right brains than males, who tend to be more left-brained. It meant that females were given more respect as leading the way in the mainstream norm of the day. If someone came along and tried to solve something in a more logical way, they would have been shunned and told they were wrong to think like that. And this led to resentment and eventually disharmony among the left-brain thinkers, who rebelled and took over. This was easy for them because the right-brained people are loving and peaceful. They don't want wars. So to the logical left-brainers, it was a piece of cake. They saw this as a weakness, and they took advantage. Then came the second Aeon, which we are in now, the Aeon of patriarchy. This is the father part of the Trinity. This is the time when the left-brain thinking is dominant, and anyone who is a right-brain thinker is shunned as being different. The catchphrase of the day is, "That isn't logical." It is seen as being silly and daft to be a right-brained thinker. Don't let your emotions run away with you, they say. It is a cold world that left-brain thinkers invent, and it hurts everyone, not just the right-brain thinkers. But slowly, the left-brained thinkers start to get tired of war and hate, and the dog-eat-dog logical culture, and decide to become more empathetic. This is starting to happen now, slowly, but it is starting to happen. Until eventually they will take on more of the right-brained way of thinking, and this means more balanced brains. This leads to the third Aeon, which we are currently moving into, the Aeon of Veritas. This is the divine child part of the Trinity. This is the time when everyone learns to be balanced, to not be so linear thinking and logical that it removes emotions, but not to be too emotional that it removes all logic. This is a fantastic time, the best Aeon. But as with all things, you cannot have one thing without the other. Eventually, people will enjoy this bliss so much that they start to become too empathetic and too emotional again. And this leads straight back to the first Aeon again, then the second, then the third. The cycle will keep repeating on Earth. There is nothing we can do to stop it. It just happens naturally. All things happen for a reason. We must endure the bad to get to the good, and we cannot have the good without the bad. When we realize this, we can see the crimes of the Aeon we are currently in, and we will not fear the new Aeon coming, because it is meant to be. This cycle has happened so many times in the past, and will continue to do for eternity on the planet. We cannot fight change, we just have to go with the flow. And this article I wrote back in 2013, and since then I'm sure a lot of you have noticed that the Aeon of Veritas is moving quickly here now, as all the confusion is around gender and people not knowing whether they're male or female. But it will all sort itself out in the new Aeon, and people will be a lot more happier and settled with who they actually are, and it will be a nice time for quite a while before it reverts back and the wheel keeps turning, as it always will. Anyway, that's all for now. Bye.